Hey, what's going on? Welcome along to episode 30 of the Strategy and Conversions podcast. Mark, episode 30, it's another milestone, another 10.
It is, isn't it?
It's all
Yeah.
stacking up. And
Yeah.
this one as well is quite special because we've said before we're going to get into, a bit of a close, a bit of a conclusion, a summary of the last three podcasts that we've done. We kind of did a part 1, 2, and 3. So we'll bring that to a close.
Yeah.
We're going to talk as well then about the plans that we have for the podcast coming up and a few things that we're doing with Momentum Builder as well. So I guess let's start things off here and kind of just, I guess, take an overview of the past 3 weeks.
Right.
And we kind of did the special part where we said, okay, look, this whole kind of thing of messaging and offering, we need to put them together and we need to look at how they bind together. So we did this in a 3-part series. So if you haven't listened to that yet, go back and listen to it, because there was some, I was going to say there were some gems, but I think it's more than that, right? I think we basically gave away the keys to the castle in those episodes where, if you actually follow it along, there was quite a lot that we went through. We went quite deep on certain parts.
Yeah.
As an overview, I mean, look, you get your offering right. You get your messaging right, people are going to buy from you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we went in detail into that. Is they get it's the messaging, it's the whole emotional side. I think that's is understanding that people buy from emotions. But you get as you said, you get the messaging right and your thought process right about why people would want to buy from you. Then you're onto a winner if you can crack that scene.
I think as well for me that, I guess, one of the parts that we didn't go through, and I think the reason we didn't go through this is because we were talking about what we do with the whole kind of offering and messaging and stuff like that, and we know it works and that kind of thing. So we didn't get into the whole kind of part around maybe like the mindset of people, where I know we've been through this before in some podcasts and we've talked about mindset, but you will get some people who will listen to those podcasts and go, yeah, that's all right for you two. That's all right for you, Jamie and Mark, but for me, no one's going to pay me this sort of money to get that. No one's going to want this. No one's going to want that. And it's just like, look, I mean, there are people out there who will buy from you. There are sensible people. There are also people that went out and stockpiled toilet roll, a year ago or so. It's like, as long as there's a demand and you have the supply, the people are going to want it.
Yeah, I think that's true. And it's still, that's the state of mind, isn't it? People aren't going to want to buy from me or want to listen to me. People love stories. People love listening to stories. And if you have a story about something, some kind of, it doesn't even have to be huge adversity of how you overcame something, even just that. If you've got a story behind what you do, and you start off with people getting, you can let people know about your story. That's a start, because you'll get people interested in you just because of what you've gone through or what you haven't gone through or the way that you've structured whatever you're doing. You'll find that people are just interested in finding out more about how others have done things. And once you have an interest in you from those people, then they will be interested in what you've got to say.
Yeah, I think there's that whole thing as well. Look, if you can help someone, you can help them, right? It doesn't matter if you're not seen as the guru of the industry, or you're really, really successful. As long as you're, like you said, you've overcome something or you're a few steps ahead, you can actually help a lot of people. And some people will want to come to you rather than go to the bigger kind of fish and
of course they
stuff
do.
like that. I think this is an area that I was stuck on for quite a while. I knew I was good at what I did. I had a vast amount of knowledge of all things within the marketing industry and stuff like that. And I help businesses and stuff. I don't really shout about myself, and tell people I'm really good at this and I can help you with that and stuff like that. And I think because there are the big kind of gurus out there that, are talking the big game and they're flying around in jets and Lamborghinis and all this kind of mansions, and you think, well, I haven't got that. So why would someone listen to me when they can go to that person? And it's like, you can have a better knowledge, you can have a better better aspect of where that person is right now, and what they're trying to overcome, rather than just them buying into a program from someone else. You can actually give them that time and dedication to help them.
I think what's interesting about that kind of stuff is that you get people who jump up and down because they say, "Yeah, I want all that. I want all that. I want to be that person," and yet they don't put anything into action anyway. So actually, they never achieve that. So they just go on looking for the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and still never achieve anything. And there are people who are attracted. Don't get me wrong. There are people who are attracted to that lifestyle, that kind of millionaire, jet set lifestyle. Doesn't appeal to everybody.
Yeah,
And there are quite a few people that just will get turned off by it. Just think, oh, I don't want that. And when someone comes along and speaks to them in I'll say plain English, but in a language that is not ramped up and not high vibe and all this kind of stuff, and just talk sensibly to people. Yeah, some people are going to say, yeah, but I want more, and they're not going to be your perfect client, if you like. But that's fine, because you're not going to deal with you're not going to deal with everybody in the world. You wouldn't want to. So there will be people who are attracted to the way you put something across, and there'll be a certain amount of people that will resonate with what you're saying, and then will think, yeah, I really like this person. I really would like to understand more about how they have done something. In particular, how you have gone from A to B, and then telling people how to do the same, or helping people to do the same.
And that could be as simple as someone who's been in a job as, say, an advisor, and then they've left and set up their own kind of self-employment, doing the same thing. People would love that. I can remember talking to a guy years ago where we were looking at it was just kind of general. I think I was doing a talk on something, and I used this guy as an example, and we're talking about how they could move from where they are now in business to making more income, and looking at different kind of side income and stuff like that. And this guy, he was a director of an IT business. They started from scratch. They'd got up to turn over a fair few million, and it was like, well, look, you can actually teach people who are inspiring to create their own IT companies to grow. It's like, you've got the proof there, you've done it. And I think that's a big thing sometimes, is that, look, if you've done it, you can show people how to do it. That's the big thing there. And it's like, it doesn't matter how small that is. I think we spoke about this a lot within the offering and the messaging. Is I think sometimes people always look at, okay, look, if I'm going to offer to help someone, I need to get that complete end result. But it's like that's not what they need. And I think you summed it up great. I can't remember if it was in a podcast or in some of our training, where you said about, kind of Arnold Schwarzenegger, sort of, his physique and stuff like that. Is there'll be people who are bodybuilders who are trying to get that type of physique, but there are also people that just want to drop a bit of weight. People that just want to get a bit healthier than where they are and stuff like that. And your help, can help them do that. You may not be able to help the bodybuilder and stuff like that, but you can help the person take the next steps in their journey. Yeah,
and you know what? It's people are always learning. So if male, female, it doesn't matter. If you've got to a position, and that probably involved you looking something up on Google, learning something, put it into practice, and finding that it worked, whatever. You've learned from somebody, so why would you not expect people to learn from you? Because it's the same thing. If they're in a position where you were, yeah, of course they could do the same thing. They could go, if they wanted to, they could go on to they could go on to the Google, and they can go to YouTube and watch all the videos and all the rest of it. But that all takes time, and you can say, but this is the way I did it that I know works. So instead of going through all the mistakes that you have made getting to where you were, you can say, look, I can shortcut this because I can help you now. I know I've gone through this, I've tried this, I know this didn't work. This is why it didn't work. But this is what does. And so all of a sudden you're fast tracking a person to get to the position that it's taken you maybe a bit longer to get to, but you're still ahead of them. And all the time, this is the other thing, isn't it, about not being the finished article? All the time is that you are a few steps ahead of them. And the whole point is you're bringing them up to the speed where you were a few weeks back or a few months back, but you're still growing as well. So when they get to where you are now, you'll have gone further, you'll have grown further, and you can still be giving them the benefit of your experience and your knowledge. So you're never staying at the position you are now. And I think a lot of people think that, well, I tell them all I know now, and that'll be it. And you think, yeah, but in 3 months' time, you're in a different place. You've read more books, you've done more stuff, you've tried something else that didn't work. So share your knowledge.
I can remember talking to someone, a good few years back who was a trainer, and we were talking about doing a course or something like that. And they said, but if I just teach them everything I know, I'll be out of work. It's just like, you won't be, because you are still the expert, right?
Yeah.
You're passing your knowledge on and stuff like that, but you're always continuing with your expertise.
Exactly.
Like you said, we're always learning. We're never that finished article. And if you are that finished article, you're moving backwards.
Yeah. If you think you're there, that's right. Yeah.
And there's two things, mate. Two things that I've got to pick up on that where you said about it is that you always need to be 2 steps ahead, like that kind of thing. You only need to be 2 steps ahead and stuff like that, and people will want to follow to get to that. I've finally got around to watching the Squid Games. Like, so I know we were talking about it the other week personally when I said that I keep seeing stuff about it. I haven't seen any of it. I think I'm about halfway through anyway, something like that anyway. But there's one game where they kind of start and they're looking to see the contestants in front of them to see which kind of steps they go so that they can follow it. Because it is that thing. Look, if you had to go through a minefield, and someone in front of you has got through it successfully, well, look, you're going to want to just follow the path that they took. Exactly. And if you're looking to climb up a mountain and someone's already done it before and they're going to guide you in doing it, well, yeah, of course you're going to want that. And that's all it is. People just want guides. They want people to help them. They want to be the hero in their own story, and they want you to guide them in being that hero.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the second part about always learning, and if you're not moving forward, you're always moving backwards. There's a great clip that I have of Grant Cardone. So we spoke a few times about Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
I think he's great. He was in that program Undercover Billionaire. Whenever I watch anything with him, I'm really motivated. He gets me kind of going. There was a while where I was I don't know if I like him. Is very that whole kind of, especially with us being English, being British, and
he's very
the American style is very much in your face, rah sort of stuff, and sometimes we're like we don't know how to respond to that. But over time I've seen a vulnerable side to him and stuff like that. So I've come to really like him. He did some sort of speech the other day within his kind of training, whatever kind of conference he was at where he was doing some training, and he was talking about himself, and he said he's come to realize that marketing is the main thing.
Yeah.
He said you can go back and watch videos over the past 10 years of me talking about sales and why you need to focus on sales, and sales is the main thing. He's like, but I got that wrong. I should have been telling you that marketing is the main thing, because where we are right now, marketing is your asset. It's like everyone has a personal brand. You've been marketing yourself. That's an asset that people can go back and watch. People will be watching from years to come. So you need to take your marketing seriously. That needs to be pushed to the front. It's the main thing. And it's like that there is, for me, is just that whole kind of pinnacle of someone who they're at the top of their game, but they're continuing to learn and adapt and go, right, okay, look, this is how we move forward.
And also, you could say it's a bit of a marketing technique, but the fact he admitted the fact that he was wrong. I've been telling you, the fact he was willing to say, look, I've got it wrong. Yes, I've been successful, but it could have been so much easier if I went for this because of building the asset. So, and we do, and it's interesting that he says that, because you do get things wrong. You cannot be going through life and everything working for you, bang, bang, bang. You will have a couple of successes, then you'll have a bit of a disaster, and you think, well, what happened there? And the only way you don't repeat that disaster again is if you actually question it. Or what happened? What did I do wrong? What can I do differently? And once you do that, you've then learned and you've moved on. You won't make the same mistake, but then you could stop people in their tracks, as Grant Cardone said. Look, marketing is the thing, not selling. Marketing.
And that's the big thing for me, is I'm not necessarily agreeing with him that he was wrong, because I actually think he may have been right at the right time, because I think whatever he was teaching people, whatever he was kind of believing in, was right at that time for him. That was his skill set. That's what he was teaching people. And as time has gone on and the game's changed a little bit, but he's evolved. And he's seeing things from a different angle and gone, actually, I should have been, even though I was telling you about this, I should have also been telling you about that. Because where that stuff is kind of, they go hand in hand, but this kind of tactic is short-lived, where this strategy is long-term. this is where I would be spending my efforts if I could go back and do it again. And I think what was really interesting there is even for myself, I can't think for the life of me what book it is now. I've had a total mind blank, but I read a book back last week that I read about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I read it this time, and I'm reading it. I'm getting all different ideas, and different things are hitting me in different ways. And it's just that level that you evolve over time, that you see things differently, that you can take bits and pieces from. And I think that's just a big skill there. That look, going full circle back to what we were talking about, is that if you're offering something and you don't have that, we've mentioned this a few times, that the clarity, the confidence, and the courage to put it out there. Think of it this way: that look, there are people out there that need your help. They need you to offer to help them, so that they can take you up on that and overcome whatever they're struggling with right now and get to that stage that you're at or where you were.
Yeah. And one last thing I'll mention on that, actually, because that's really interesting, you were saying about the book thing, is that you might think that you've got nothing to show them, but you're at a different level of awareness than that person is now. So if you imagine, go back to the book situation, you read that book a year ago, for example, and your awareness was different. So that you picked up some stuff, of course you did, and you learned from some stuff, but there's an awful lot that went over your head, or you even didn't realize you were reading it. And that's a lot of people don't realize they're reading something and they'll skip past it because at that time they're not aware enough to think, wow, that's a gem just there. Read it a year later and all of a sudden you pick up on those things, but you're still missing stuff because you need to go back and go back. So it's like having the book. So if you've read this book twice or three times and you teach someone about what's in the book, you're teaching them what you already know from your position of awareness, which they won't pick up if they did it themselves. So they need a guide who can say, you can say to them, look, this is what it really means. And someone will say, oh, right. Actually, I'd never even thought of that. No, of course you didn't, because you weren't in that level of awareness. Then if you go back in, say, 6 months' time and you read that same book again, you'll pick up different things again. And so, and that's the whole process of kind of teaching and raising awareness, is that you'll be in a different place than that person that you're teaching will be.
Yeah, I was just thinking in as well. I mean, this is outside of my knowledge. I don't know about it, but I can remember years back, like you'd be watching programs and say like American programs, and they would talk about people going to Bible study groups.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's the whole point, is that people are in different levels of awareness.
Absolutely,
from interpreting different parts of the Bible, that they could pass that on and, help each other and stuff like that. And I think there is a good point to pick up on. Like over the years, there's been a number of times that, we spoke with someone individually, maybe together and stuff like that. And someone would say, I'm thinking about doing this, so I'm going to do things that way. And we've like, look, don't do it that way because X, Y, Z. And for whatever reason, they think they're right, so they carry on and do it, And I'm not saying we have all the answers, but like you said, there's a lot of stuff there where, look, we've been down that path, we've made the mistake. Yeah. So we know to avoid that mistake and go in a different way. And as much as you try to educate someone, they're just like, no, I'm going to go this way, I'm going to go that way. And you just think to yourself, like, we know the struggles that you're going to face, going down that path. And I think that's a big thing with marketing, is that, it is the entry level is a level playing field. Anyone can market themselves, market their business. Anyone can set up a social media account, and say that they can help someone. And it's like, do you know what? You could pick up a scalpel, the same as a surgeon, and you could cut someone open, right? And anyone has that skill, but to actually know then what to do, is a whole different skill set. And I think that's for me, it's the same thing with marketing, is that we talked before about connecting the dots and stuff like that, and how they all kind of fit together. And through what we've done with all these kind of podcasts, and especially the last 3, is we've kind of gone through the steps that you need for that kind of solid foundation, that clarity, that confidence, so that you can have the courage with your next step. Yeah. Make sure that what you do is correct. The same as a surgeon, for example. I mean, look, if you make a wrong move with your marketing, it's not going to kill anyone. No. Right? Whereas, with a surgeon, that is a possibility. But the point is that if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to make mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And the surgeon had to learn.
Yeah.
The surgeon didn't pick up a scalpel and then was absolutely practice perfect on an operation. They learned. They watched and they learned. They watched and they learned. They had a mentor. And exactly the same thing.
And I think there's a big thing there as well with time, isn't it? That, you put stuff out there now, you overcome that kind of mindset where you go through, that kind of offering and messaging. And, we talked about your pop, so your positioning, your offering, your process, and you get that out there. And then over time, look, you may just refine that a bit, and you may go after a different kind of angle, or you may just become a lot more confident in it as you go. And I guess that's where we get into the next kind of part that we didn't really talk about too much, is about price. So I think we talked about positioning and where you position yourself in the market. And we talked about sometimes that money is irrelevant because people do need your assistance. They do need your help to overcome something. But I think sometimes people will go, oh, but I can't charge that. Or who's going to pay that? Who's going to pay me that? Or, buy from me when they can buy from someone else. I think a big mistake there is, for one, not believing in your price, but two, also looking at your competitors and trying to price yourself in the same kind of ballpark or even lower because you think that you're not as good as a competitor.
That's such a huge mistake that is made every day by many, many businesses, isn't it? They think, right, okay, this is the kind of what can the market stand? Well, it depends on what you're offering. If you've got say you've just created a little product, which is so someone's selling apples and someone's selling oranges, and you've just come up with a product that grafts the two. So you've got something that's completely unique. Not unique to the extent that it's radically different, but you got this thing called a app orange or something, and it's slightly different. It's an apple, but it's got a bit different taste. It's a slightly different thing. And he said, well, how do I price this? Well, he's selling apples, they're selling apples for that, and she's selling oranges for that. Oh, I better price it around that price as well. But it's totally unique. Somebody might think, wow, that's brilliant, and they might pay a really good premium price for it. So where you've taken two ideas, or where you've looked at, you've got your product, right? And there's lots of products around, but you're adding something to it. You've created, because remember we said, didn't you, if you're not going to create any extra value, people aren't going to buy it. That's a given. So you've created an extra value somehow. It could be more support calls, or it could be a different take on this, or it could be just something.
It could just
else.
be you, right? It could just
be you. That's the whole point. People buy from people. So you're selling a product, and they want to buy from you. They don't want to buy from Jane, or they don't want to buy from Richard. They want to buy from you. So why would you go and price it the same as Richard or Jane, when maybe you offer something different, and you can say, well, it's a premium price, but you have to. But this goes back to the 3 C's, doesn't it? You have to be clear about what you're offering. Then you have to have the confidence that what you're offering is better. Really, when it comes down to it, you must believe that what you're offering is better. If you don't believe that, then you're never gonna. Well, you're just going to be in the same kind of pool with the rest of them, with everyone the rest else, of the people, and you'll never stand out.
And I guess that's what I want to get at with the mindset side, is we didn't really get into it. This is why I think we needed to go into it, because those past 3 episodes, of the podcast, where we talked about, why we feel offering and messaging is so important. We looked at offering, we looked at messaging, we really went deep into it. We kind of gave the structure to anyone listening that they really need to follow. But if that mindset isn't there, if something is holding them back, they're not going to do it, or they're not going to achieve what they can do. How we've kind of set it up. And it's like that there is, I think we've crossed off a few stories on the podcast before around kind of price and stuff like that. And there's the one about the kind of ship that I mentioned with the engine not working.
Yeah.
I think if we look at it from a different angle as well, like you imagine, for example, like a chiropractor. Imagine someone, they've got this issue with their back. Maybe they've seen a few people before and they haven't been able to solve this problem, but that you can solve this problem.
Yeah.
You can help someone overcome this, right? And maybe you could do it quicker, and you can help that person overcome the issue that they've been having for years. And you can, they can skip away happy.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you think, oh, but because I do it quicker, I'm going to have to charge less.
Yes.
And it's like, but actually you can charge a lot more
Yeah.
doing it in less time than dragging it out over 3 years.
Absolutely right.
You know?
Yeah.
I think
It's
that's
interesting. Very, very interesting. I had a hypnotherapist about 2 years ago. I had almost exactly the same conversation with the hypnotherapist, and she wouldn't charge. She was charging ridiculously low price for hypnotherapy sessions, and she said because I heal them quickly. And you say, so why is that? Why is that a problem?
Yeah.
So I got an example for me. For me, I don't know where I developed this, but way back in the time, I developed this real bad fear of heights, and I've lived for 40 odd, even 50 years with this huge fear of heights. And I was I went on a course, not about curing fear of heights, all about NLP when I first started getting to NLP. So that was a neuro-linguistic programming for people that aren't aware of it. It's been around for quite a while. And it's only because I wanted to understand more about it, because it was handy for coaching. And I started to study it more. So about 4 years ago. And he said, right, I'm going to use an example. So who's got a fear of, and he came up with fear of heights. And I put mine, yes, yeah, I've got fear of heights. Had it since I've never, for whatever. He cured it within half an hour. And to prove he cured it, we were on a sixth floor of a hotel, got to the balcony, and he said, right, don't put your hands on the side and look down. Now, that would have terrified. I wouldn't have even gone near the side. And I looked down and I thought, wow, okay. And he said, right, I can't tell you it's absolutely cured, but does that feel a lot better? And I said, yeah, it feels brilliant. And now I can go up ladders and all that stuff. He cured it in half an hour. It doesn't mean to say it was any less of an impact if it had taken 10 years. In fact, 10 years, I would have given up.
Yeah.
And curing in half an hour, you think, well, that's priceless. And it really was priceless, because it just, you don't realize, I didn't realize how debilitating a fear of heights was all that time. But yeah, those kind of things, if you can cure somebody from smoking, for example,
Mm-hmm.
in a half an hour session, boom, they don't smoke anymore. And they've been smoking for 30 years or say 20 years or so. And they've always wanted to give up.
And maybe they've tried as well, they've tried a few times, but you've got a special
exactly, yeah, they've tried. Because those kind of things, willpower, I know people will argue with this. Willpower doesn't work. If you just say, I'm going to use my will and give up smoking, I don't think it didn't work for me. I gave it years ago. But fear of heights, you can't use your willpower. People say to you, oh, just do it, because that'll overcome your fear of heights. And you start going up a ladder. I'm up to the second rung. I said, right, okay, that's it. I'm going back down again. and willpower's got nothing to do with it.
And do you know what? I was going to say, look, if the guy cured it in half hour, you're going to have to tell us how he did it. But maybe we'll save that to another podcast.
Yeah.
Because that, I think that could be quite interesting. But that's exactly right in what you just said, is that you can lie to yourself as much as you want, right? But if you don't believe it, it's going to come that point where you become unstuck, and it all starts to unravel. And that's why you need someone who can teach you the proper way to make things happen. And that there, I mean, look, if you take a different example, like with that, if we take the chiropractor again, you could have someone who would say, like, maybe they're a CEO of a big financial company. Maybe they're on mega millions a year to be this head, and maybe this lady, she's got an issue with her back, and she can't really get to the office or anything like that, and it's stopping her from doing the work that she's doing. That business is going to suffer, but she is at potential then a loss of income because she can't complete that job.
Yeah.
So what's more valuable to her, going to this chiropractor and paying a hell of a lot more and getting it sorted in half hour, or maybe paying the same amount or less and taking 3 years to cure it?
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's like, but that there is such a sticking point with people. But it'd be like, well, I didn't put much work in, or I didn't do this, or it didn't cost me anything to do it. And it's like, but actually it did, because that past 10 years or whatever it is that you've learned those skills to get to this point now, they're valuable to people.
Absolutely. And that's right. And going back to that ship story, as you started off, it's the guy who knows exactly where to hit the engine or whatever it was to get it started. As you pay for the expertise of that engineer looking at whatever and say, right, bang, there you go. That's going to cost you £40,000.
So
And it's because of all the training, knowing exactly by listening. It amazes me when I used to train garages and train in the motor trade. And there's so many people, I used to think it was rubbish. So many mechanics who would listen. They'd just be listening to a car engine for about 20 minutes and say, right, that's the problem. And you don't charge £5 for that or £5 or dollars or whatever. That's a lot of money to be able to say, right, that's your problem. That needs sorting. Do that and it'll be fine.
I think that's exactly, isn't it? You get that old, I was going to say that old skilled mechanic. They can be younger now and stuff, but I guess experience does come over time.
Yeah.
They could just hear a noise and they know exactly where that noise is coming from.
Yeah.
You know, it's insane. And yeah, I think everyone has that skill within their kind of industry. And then they get new realizations as well. We go back to that Grant Cardone example, is that over the time he's gone, do you know what, actually this little part here, if we actually made this the big part, then you know there's going to be there's going to be a lot more benefit that comes our way. And you know, to big ourselves up as well with this example, I guess, of knowing your stuff. We said about in a podcast a little while ago, we talked about we did a strategy session with Nathan, you know, and he had an offering that looked really good on paper, but when we got into it, it didn't really look as good, and we had to kind of restructure it and, you know, go in a certain way. I spoke with him a couple of days ago, you know, and he was just like, yeah, do you know what, things are going really well. This session that I've got coming up, I've got X amount of people booked into it, which means I'm £1,000 in profit, you know, just on that first session, which, you know, he was saying about how he's already made a return on investment from our session. And I was like, you know, and he was taking the amount that he paid us and stuff like that. And I'm like, but you don't take that, it's just for that one session. Look at it over the next kind of 6 sessions or a year. You're actually making a lot more profit now, and you're going to continue to make a lot more profit. But that whole point there is that he spent a bit of money and a bit of time investing in our help. And what we were able to do is stop him from going down one path and go down another path, and he's already in profit. But someone doing that on their own, they would have gone down the wrong path, and they may have gone down there for 6 months, maybe a year, before they went, actually, no, this doesn't work. So, you know, I'm just going to pull the plug and that's done now. Or they then invest in some help and they go down a different route. But it's like that expertise, you know, that we can just stand back straight away and go, this isn't going to work. Yeah. You know, it's like that's a big call, right?
Putting the finger on the button, wasn't it? Because I remember the first one says, what do you think? I said, well, it's too cheap. Yeah. There's the button, it's too cheap. Yeah. You're not going to make any profit on it. And then all of a sudden it was, all right, yeah, okay. It's just knowing those things. You know, we've been having, as you said, having been through there, and we've you know, try and do this at budget price and doing it, and all of a sudden you realise that actually I'm making a loss. Why am I making a loss? And that could and that leads a lot of businesses down the rocky road of going out of business, and because they think they're doing well. And this comes. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff we can go onto with this. But measuring numbers and measuring how, that's what we did. We just crunched numbers. That's all really we did. It was a great product. It was some great service that Nathan was offering and really good stuff. But okay, hang on, let's crunch the numbers. And that's what it came down to, is understanding that you can't just build a new service offering on purely on emotion and how it looks. You need to understand everything behind it and understanding the numbers. And it's especially true.
I mean, the math behind everything is what we go back to, right?
Yeah.
And we talk about marketing. I mean, I basically position myself as a marketing strategist.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, you kind of look at yourself then as a marketing psychologist.
Yeah.
You know, and we look at that with business as well. You know, so even though we're saying marketing, what we're doing is we're saying, going back to that Grant Cardone thing, is that, well, we're saying marketing is the big cog. You know, that's why we focus on marketing. But it's not just marketing that a lot of people will just take marketing as a bit of advertising, maybe putting some social posts out and stuff like that. What we're talking about is how that marketing supports business growth in a strategic way.
Yeah.
And then we put all the pieces of the puzzle together, connect the dots, you know, and do things that way. But the whole thing is, it comes back to the math, because there's no point in doing stuff if it's not going to make you the money to, one, cover costs, you know, two, give you the kind of income that you need. and three, be sustainable to actually continue and, grow and, give yourself options to move forward with.
And that's the whole point of this, going back to the thing we talked about a lot with the pop, isn't it? Is that the part of the pop is the process. So you create a process that makes it sustainable, so that if you spend, say, $10 on producing it, and it produces you $20, and you've got a $10 profit because your net profit, wow. So let's just bang more money into it because it's sustainable and it carries on. And as long as the process works and it still gives you that net profit margin, which again is the number, if it gives you a good profit margin, doesn't matter how much prices go up or down. If you can be working in a pretty well structured way, it's sustainable for as long as there is a market for it.
And that's where you get those options as well to look at it and go, okay, how do we reduce costs?
Yeah.
How do we add more value to charge more?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now you could be making that $20, net profit rather than $10.
Yeah, exactly.
Just by, looking at the math again.
Yeah.
And things that way. I mean, there's so much there. And I guess to touch on that as well, we've mentioned a few times, we've got this, whether it's a product, whether it's a service, I think I've settled on program now.
Yeah, okay.
But we call it momentum builder.
Yeah.
And what we've basically said is, look, okay, if you want to add income streams that are sustainable through digital assets, product services, and stuff like that, what we've done is we basically mapped it out, and we've gone, right, okay, look, starting from now, over the next 12 months, we want to add sustainable income streams. I was not going to say it takes 12 months before you make any money. We're just saying that over the next 12 months, we're going to show you how to add it, make it sustainable, and you can replicate that in different areas. So whether it's a course, an info product, a membership, a coaching program, a mastermind, whatever it is, we've got the right structure there. And for the first month, that we kind of give a 4-week action plan and stuff like that with different kind of tasks there, we don't actually talk about marketing.
No.
Because we're talking about getting rock solid foundations.
Yeah.
Because once you have those rock solid foundations, you can build on top of it.
Yeah. Exactly.
We break it down. There is a lot about the math in there where we look at, okay, if you want to make X amount of money, how much money do you really need to make?
Yeah.
Because there are costs involved and stuff like that. And that stuff there is like, just from whether someone's new to business or they're seasoned in business, just that point there where you just stop and you go, yeah, actually, I need to make a bit more money.
Yeah.
It just, all of a sudden, it gives you a different perspective on what you're planning to do.
Yeah.
And from that as well, I know we've even had people, I mean, one of the parts that I feel for us is a major benefit that you don't see from a lot of people is we say we've got a messaging system that if you don't quite get something with the program or any of the training or something's going on in your business and you just need a different view, we've got unbiased assist you can go through, and someone's going to give you a view, or a member of the team's going to help you with a view. That there is just it's invaluable. You can't put a price on that, right? Just for someone to say that we're going to help you overcome whatever issue it is. And we've even gone further as well, that we've just added in, by the time the podcast comes out, it'll be added in, but it's not added in right now. But we've got personal coach.
Yeah, for the members.
It's like, look, whatever your kind of this income stream, whatever it is that you're looking to add into your business, if there's a point where you need accountability, if you need, that extra kind of guidance or direction, whatever it is, we're here. They can speak to us. They can speak to the actual kind of coaches, mentors, whatever it is. The people who have been there and done it before, they can actually tell them how to overcome that part.
Yeah, and it's good to see that some people have already started to use that.
And that was the thing. Do you know what? I was losing my way a bit then. I was like, why am I even talking about all of this stuff? But the reason is that we've had someone who's come into it and they needed some help where, and we've had a few different kind of messages come through where people needed certain help. But this was one in particular where they wanted some help, but there was no real kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? I mean, there was no outcome that they were looking to achieve.
Yeah, that's right. It was very vague. Yeah.
It was just that they want, and it's like, right, okay, well, we need something tangible to be able to work towards, because, they were like, okay, like, I need some help with, finances to, what I want to achieve. And I want to achieve this for my family and I want this. And it's like, okay, but look, let's pull it back to the actual goals.
Yeah.
And that's when we were like, okay, look, this is the kind of steps that we've put in place now. So look, week 1, this is what you need to work on. Week 2, week 3, week 4. And that there is, the whole point then is that it builds on top of each other. It builds momentum.
Exactly.
Kind of
This,
push forward.
and this is the whole point. I mean, I know that we use momentum in everything that we do, but that's exactly the point. You build on it. It's not just you do one thing and it produces a little outcome, then it stops again. The whole point is you build one thing and then something goes on and something goes on. So that also that momentum becomes an acceleration. And we always say that we build the momentum for you to accelerate at the speed you want. So if some people want to fly, then great, let them fly, because who are we to limit them? We just say, yeah, can we carry on and carry on? If some people aren't interested, so people want the Grant Cardone lifestyle, then great, that's fine. But that isn't going to appeal to everybody. Some people don't want that. They think, I don't want to, because of all the stuff that's involved in getting there, because it's not an easy route to get there. And there's a lot of work involved. But if people want to chase that, that's fine. Other people don't. People want to say, I want to get to this level. Fine again. It's not about us deciding where they're going to be. It's all about, it's momentum builder to build the momentum and the acceleration that you want to create. But it's all about momentum. That's why we use the car analogy, that it takes more energy from a car to be stopped to gain momentum than it does to accelerate. Once they've gained momentum, then it becomes easier. It takes less energy. And that's exactly the way that business is. Once you have the momentum going, which is hard to start with, but once it's going and it's sustainable, then it becomes a lot easier, shall we say. I'm not saying it's going to be simple.
No, I mean, that's something that I was just about to pick up on. I think it's really good that you mentioned that there, is that, look, it does require work.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're trying to go at 1,000,000 miles an hour, or, you just want to plod along, is that doesn't matter. The whole thing is that it's going to take work to get results.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that it has to be hard work. No. I like to think of it as smart work.
Yeah.
Is that we do the right things in the right order to make things happen. And that's why with this momentum builder is that, like I said, that kind of first quarter, that kind of first 3 months that we do, it's all about those rock solid foundations. Everyone needs that. Everyone needs to go through that to get the rock solid foundations. And then, you can then pick up that momentum as fast as you want. You can accelerate as fast as you want then, in different angles. And like you said, the good thing with this, we created it, is people are at different levels. So there will be people who already have a business, they're already turning over X amount of money, and they just want to maybe perfect something, or they want to add something to it. Yeah. And maybe someone starting fresh, that just wants a bit of a side hustle.
Yeah, that's right. So it's there for everybody. Again, it's the momentum, because there are, and there's, again, nothing wrong with it. There are people who want to stay in their job because they want to have that paycheck coming in, because that's their kind of safety net, but they know that they need to introduce another income stream. So that's fine. And again, it depends purely upon the goal of that person, how much work they are able to put in or willing to put in to get to where they want. And we'll be practical about that, because I know that you, in the past, you've run kind of things on the side as well, and it's how much work's involved. So if you say, well, I want to do this and get to this level, you say, okay, part-time, you could struggle with getting to that level, but you could have this. And then it becomes, they can then look at it. But it could be, in some cases, that they start part-time and they think, I'm enjoying this. And then they go full-time. But again, it's just helping people to make the transition at the speed they want to make it.
Exactly. And again, we spent a lot of time within, the last session as well, within that momentum builder of looking at, okay, look, what is it you want to move forward with? Is it that side hustle that's just going to require a bit of time? Is it a full-on new business? Is it just adding a bit to your business? And it is just getting crystal clear on that. Because once you do have that clarity and you have that confidence in your next step, you have the courage to take it. You have the courage to take it in faster steps as well. Coming back to your whole kind of thing with the issue with height, the fear of height, is that you're not going to go and peer over the balcony if you are scared of heights. But if if you're not scared of heights, then you're going to go. You're happy to climb up the side of the building with whatever it is. But that whole point there, I mean, look, the reason talking about this as well with momentum builder, we will put some information within the description wherever you're listening or watching this, that you can check out momentum builder. Come and join us, because it's awesome. We've added all the different things that you will need, and we continue to add that as you go along and build momentum. we also give a double money back guarantee, which is just insane. But the stuff that we've added in there is second to none anyway. But the cherry on top, which again you don't see anyone doing, and this is what for me sets us apart from a lot of the kind of teachings we're out there in marketing and stuff like that maybe are teaching that the out of date kind of marketing tactics or business growth tactics, is that we're going to follow along in Momentum Builder for a separate company, separate business, a way to make money separate to strategy and conversions, through a different kind of way of doing things, a different kind of area. And we're gonna show you how we do it. So it's like, not just putting our money where our mouth is with the double money back guarantee, but actually putting reputations on the line as well by saying we're going to do it. We're going to do it along with you and stuff like that as well. So the reason talking about that again, look, is because moving forward, we're going to not so much change the structure of the podcast, but we're going to bring in a few different elements.
Yeah.
So all we want to do moving forward, we've done 30 episodes now.
Yeah.
which is great. We've had an amazing response. We've had a great following. It's helped us set up a new business. I mean, that's the thing, hasn't it? It's pushed us to do what we needed to do, and set up this business here. Is that moving forward? Well, yeah, we're going to give you a bit of a look behind the scenes. We're going to look to bring in some people to kind of bring onto the podcast and chat with as well.
Yeah, some experts. That's right. Yeah, some
experts on different areas of business. So like we said, maybe we'll talk about accounts, maybe we'll talk about HR, maybe we'll talk about insurance, maybe we'll talk about different areas within marketing as well, and bring in people who focus on particular areas. So I mean, someone like Nathan could be pretty cool to talk about video. And he's a client. He knows what we've done, so he can give that view from his perspective. I'm just shouting his name out there. I haven't even spoke to him about doing it, but but just give an example of what we're going to do, and maybe just pick a bit of a theme that maybe for the month or something like that we run with, or for the next couple of weeks we run with, and maybe we get the expert in, maybe we talk about it then separately as well, so we give it from our point of view, and we give a bit of a look behind the scenes on how we're getting on each month with what we're doing within Momentum Builder on our own kind of business then, that we're dealing with.
And this is again coming back to one of the points that we made at the very beginning of the podcast, is that we'll make mistakes. We will make mistakes while we're doing this. Of course we will, because you can't build it without making mistakes. But because we'll be learning as well, we'll pass that back to you. And I suppose you could argue that we'll be in a slightly better position because we've been in the marketing game for a long time. But don't think that it'll be plain sailing for us. I'm sure it won't. And there'll be all sorts of little traps that we may fall into that we'll be able to pass on, and we'll be just hopping along with you, if you like. So that's the point. We wanted to make it so authentic, and so so authentic, so that that the people would really be just love to be a part of it, because we're growing, and as we grow, we want you to grow, and ultimately it's your growth that's more important to us than our growth, I guess, really.
That's exactly it, isn't it? I mean, what we want to do here, I mean, authentic is a great word. I think I was thinking about it as saying, as we're making ourselves vulnerable, in a way where, look, we're stripping everything back and saying, look, starting from scratch, we're going to do this. And the reason we're doing that is that, like you said, we've had people say, yeah, it's all right for you. You've been there and done it before, and stuff like that. And it's like, what happens is that, look, starting a business for anyone is the same, right? It's that it's hard. You're going to face the same challenges. You have to overcome the same challenges and stuff like that. But like we were saying, is that, okay, look, once you've been there and you've done things, the shortcuts, what to avoid. So you don't need to make all the mistakes. You're still going to make some mistakes. It's just
I think we will.
Things change on you. Look at the pandemic. Look at we mentioned in the last podcast, I think it was the one before, that with our system we set up in a certain way, and then Zoom changed, and then YouTube changed. It's like things change on you all the time. There's all talk as well at the minute with I mean, look, LinkedIn's changed recently with their algorithms, right? I mean, they're starting to put a lot of emphasis on ads as well for businesses. So they're not letting business pages show up with what they're posting out. So they want them to go and ads the same as what Facebook did, a good few years back.
Yeah.
Facebook again, I mean, they've come out, they've been quite open that they said groups are going to get a lot less reach than what they have been getting. And, if you've got a group, that's not very good at the minute anyway, and it's like, that was one of the big decisions that when we made Momentum Builder, is that we added a group that's built into the system rather than going off and doing like Facebook or something like that. We don't want you to miss stuff. It's all in there. But the whole point there is that, you can't rely on things. Things are going to change and things are going to catch you out. There's going to be things that we do that are going to catch us out. And it's how we deal with it, how we adapt to it and overcome it to quickly then make it right.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that we want to, that's the reason we want to do it, along with you, is that we can show, okay, look, when you do hit the wall, this is how you overcome it.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
And make it still sustainable and work and, continue to work.
Yeah. And going back to the platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, all of them. They are all marketing platforms. Ultimately, they're garnering all those followers, and to monetize their product, if you like, they're going to want they advertising is the key. So all those become advertising platforms. So if you get free kind of reach at the moment in social media, it's good, but don't think it's going to last. Things will change because they'll want to monetize. I mean, Facebook used to be fantastic, free. There's no ads and stuff was flying around, but Facebook themselves, the previous owners, didn't make any money.
This is it,
And they sold it. Facebook was sold for the list, wasn't it? I think, really, what the ultimate.
But when it went public, wasn't it, and stuff like that. I mean, that was the whole thing. Is that when it went public, it started then spending a lot more time on monetizing different avenues.
Yeah, because they had to.
And how they sell their list, which is all their users, which is all of us really, is how they sell that data on, to advertisers, and not just on Facebook either, through, a lot of different platforms and stuff like that. But the whole thing, I mean, look, that is their game. I mean, we can't say anything bad in regards to how they kind of run their business, because
because they've got to run them. They've got to have a business. That's the point.
The whole point is that that's their business. Running your business on there or generating leads or whatever it is from there, use it whilst it's there. It's like, latch on to the trends and make the trends work for you. But the process is where you're really going to make the money. And that's why with Momentum Builder is we're saying, look, okay, you create a sustainable income stream, those income revenues through digital products, services and assets and stuff like that. It doesn't matter which tools you use, which platforms you use or anything like that, because you're building an asset that can adapt to weather any kind of change and stuff like that. And, I mean, given my view as well, I mean, with Facebook, is that there's a lot of people out there at the minute who are Facebook ad experts. A lot of people who are teaching you how to do ads, and a lot of companies who are running ads for you and stuff like that. I will go as far as to say within about 18 months, that job won't exist anymore.
No.
Right? Because the way Facebook are going with their different AI systems and stuff like that within ads, is that it will get to a point, and then the likes of Google and stuff like that will follow as well. Is that when you turn around and you say, right, okay, Facebook, I want to run these kind of ads, and this is how much money I've got to spend, they will do the rest. You will type in a few different boxes. This is what I want to achieve. This is how I want to do things. Right, Facebook, you go off now and do the rest.
Yeah, okay.
It is that you won't need to do anything else. You won't need to set up different, I can't even think what the word is now, but different kind of buckets and stuff like that within your ads, and run different testing and stuff like that, because they will do it all automatically for you. They will run different ways, and they're already doing parts like that already, and what those kind of experts, then you will probably have to really niche down, and really focus on, okay, how you work with the algorithms, the AI and stuff like that. And we've done podcasts before where we say that you don't have to niche down, because if you keep niching down, you're just going to thing yourself out into a point where you may not even have a job left anymore. You can't pivot or can't change because you've gone all in on that niche. Whereas if you brand yourself as a bigger kind of entity within an area, you get to then latch onto the trends and take advantage of different areas that you can make more money from. But that's all in past podcasts.
Yeah,
we
that's
said,
right.
the whole point, like we said, that moving forward, these are a few changes we're going to make within the podcast to bring you even more value, our listeners, to bring you even more value, in what we do, because, we're just a bit mindful. I mean, I said we've had some great feedback on how we do things and stuff like that, but, there's a big area of knowledge outside of, marketing and business growth that businesses do need that we don't have.
Yeah.
So let's bring that in.
And I think that was it, wasn't it? That is exactly it. We were looking at, we could carry on doing this for another year, the same way we do it. But is it adding value to you? That's the whole point, And this is what we were thinking. We had this discussion a couple of weeks ago. How can we add more value to you? The podcast, we're going to give away value, obviously, because we give away stuff. But how is it that this can be more useful and more of a useful thing for you to listen to, rather than us just chattering away about marketing and business? Because I know we love it, but I mean, by the same token, we have to give you something of substance. And we realize that, okay, now is the time to, we've done this little mini series. This is the concluding one. It's now on the big 3-0. It's a great sort of milestone, and time to see, okay, let's bring in other people that can add value to you. Of course, they're going to add value to us because we're going to be talking to them, but primarily it's because we want to give you the value that they have. And
let's just be clear as well. I mean, if this is the first episode that you've listened to, it's not that we've been talking a load of nonsense for 30 episodes, right? There's some great gems in there. There's some great stuff that we've uncovered. We've told you the truth on, which is a big thing, I think, in marketing, is actually telling you the truth on, what you need to look at to make it work for you, rather than someone just trying to sell you a shiny thing. Say is going to work. But the whole point here is that, we can continue, covering the same kind of stuff, but there's so much more within a business area, and we have some great contacts that we're going to bring on.
Absolutely.
To help you,
And so again, we're bringing the benefit of our network to help you. So,
and it's like where we're talking about business growth, there's more than just the kind of marketing sales system that you need within that to grow a business. We don't know anything about HR, but we know bits about finance, and we know the math about making things work, but we don't know anything about the whole kind of accounting world and that whole kind of digital change and all that kind of stuff. So, we bring people in on that, and there's I guess the whole kind of gold nuggets that we can give you in that whole kind of marketing and growth world. People are going to give you golden nuggets in all those different kind of areas as well.
That's right. Yeah. And the ultimate aim, especially with Momentum Builder, the ultimate aim is that you have a process that you can build a side hustle, whatever you want to do, build a further income stream, and then you can replicate it for as many different income streams as you want. And the whole idea of the podcast is it gives you the knowledge to think about whether you want 5 income streams or 7 income streams, and in some cases, what are the tax implications, and in other cases, do you need HR skills to be able to employ people to be managing those? So it's not just purely about us showing you how to market stuff and how to start creating income. It's actually how you can create a business,
create more income, and protect that income, and make even more income.
Everything that goes with business, because once you start earning a lot of money, the secret then is to be able to keep it, retain it, because the government and all sorts of people are going to try and take it off you.
And I mean that's it. That's what, I guess, going full circle and wrapping this podcast episode up, is that we're pretty confident in positioning ourselves to saying, look, we're the people that can help you make a lot more money, right? What we want to do is we want to give you access to those experts that are going to help you protect that money, and then make that money work for you. So that's what we're looking to do with the podcast moving forward. But look, as always, if you want more information, if you want to get in touch with us, you can message us on whatever platform that you're listening or watching on. There will be some information in the chat. We also have Momentum Builder as well. I think by the time this podcast comes out, there's still going to be a bit of time to get it on the deal. So we've got like a special kind of deal that's running at the minute, where it's the lowest price is ever going to be. So make sure that if you're going to get involved, you get involved like sooner rather than later. Otherwise, you'll just be paying more. You will want to get involved at some point. So why pay more?
exactly.
Let's just
Maybe we'll get
get in
them there
now.
now. Yeah, yeah.
You know,
It's
and
a really good offer.
it's an amazing offer. Let's be transparent as well. I mean, was it yesterday or the day before? It's like we had a little conversation where I had a bit of a wobble, and I was like, "Why are we doing this so low?" Like, you know, I mean, I'm all for helping people and giving back and giving the opportunity. And you know, we initially priced it low so that, you know, we removed that barrier to entry.
Yeah,
But it's like the value that we're putting into it. It's like, I mean, this information in the right hands is worth hundreds of thousands of pounds.
yeah, because it can be replicated.
That's it. You know? Yeah, and like we said with it, it's like, look, you know, you can add products, you can add services, you can even take what we're showing you and go and help other people do it as well. It's like, you know, that's the thing, is I don't rip off our stuff and take, you know, our kind of IP stuff, but the whole kind of processes and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, you know, you can run and set up your own kind of business doing this.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, but yeah, look, that's where we are. You know, roll on episode 31. I'm looking forward to this. It's like a next chapter in a book.
Yeah,
You know,
it is.
it's like we've done that first chapter. Let's move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm excited to add different elements to it, keep it fresh. And, you know, yeah, as always, you know, check us out on different platforms, give us a like, a follow, and, you know, get in contact if there's anything that you want us to discuss within, you know, the upcoming episodes. I mean, it might be that you're just there going, yeah, do you know what, I really need help with HR, you know, yeah, let us know, because, you know, the more we know of the help that you want, the faster we can get that person into help.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, let's do it. Let's wrap things up. The Mark, it's always been a pleasure.
Yep, indeed it has. Yeah.
And I'll catch you next time.
Good to talk to you all. Okay. Yeah. Bye then.